let's talk about It, the 2017 adaptation of Stephen King's classic novel, a story where every 27 years the town of Derry is terrorised by the dancing clown. Initial thoughts of it, mate? What do you make of it?
Yeah, it was really good, mate. I liked how it started with the New Line Cinema opening, where it had like the red balloon floating past. It was all kind of dark with thunder, and then it cut straight to the mum like playing this ominous piano music.
It was very like Evanescence.
Maybe she was from Evanescence.
Well, someone who's not getting Bring Me to Life is Georgie here.
Captain of the old SS Georgie. What a champion.
Oh,
to be fair, he deserved to die as well, didn't he, little If he's stupid enough to duck under one barrier and then immediately smash his face into the next one, he deserved to get mauled, didn't he, idiot? I really like the eyes when they appear in the like storm drain. So when we first see Pennywise, how his eyes just are like yellow and beaming through the dark.
Yeah.
I thought it was so well played. It kind of made him like really ominous. And then obviously he's just a freak, isn't he? He's like, the way he's talking to Georgie, you can tell he's like just weird as fuck straight from the outset.
Yeah.
However, why is Georgie not scared?
Yeah, it's a bit dodgy, isn't it? He's just very like up and open for conversation. Look at the clip of this fucking clown, you know what I mean?
He crashes for like a minute, doesn't he? He's like talking to him and he just stalls. And then he just carries on.
Just buffering, like.
Yeah, it was, yeah. I don't know. I didn't quite work out like what's happened.
It might have been dial-up, might have been the...
It's just the AOL dial-up. Yeah. I thought you were going to bust into a little song by Georgie Dawes there.
Jesus. 1942, I invented the shoe. Remake It with Georgie Dawes in there, like just popping up the drain. Peanuts.
Lesbians. Women making love undercover. He looks more like the older Pennywise, doesn't he, than the newer one?
Oh yeah, defo Tim Curry. But I will say, fucking hell, the casting of Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, he plays a blinder in this film.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? And to be fair, all they've done is put a bit of white makeup on. Like in real life, he looks like an absolute fucking murderer, doesn't he?
Oh, he does. Oh, mate, there's a photo of Tim Curry and Bill Skarsgård side by side when they were like roughly the same age, and then they're just twins. It's fucking weird how identical they are.
They're not twins.
Nearly twins.
Nearly twins. Yes.
What? You mean like triplets?
Yeah. I don't know about you, but the way that Pennywise bites his arm, I was kind of put off by it. Where it like presents its teeth, it looks quite good, but then when it clamps down on his arm, it just looked really shit. I think they covered it quite well where Georgie obviously like crawls away with one arm and then the arm comes out and you can see it like stretching and then he's dragged back in, which makes it freaky again. But I don't know, the teeth on this thing are the worst thing about him. I don't know why they have to overplay it.
Yeah, they do go down the route even later in the film where he starts becoming like a crab sort of thing and like keeps transforming into different things. Maybe they went a bit overboard with the CGI, but I know them kind of scenes happened in the original novel. Yeah, I still think it was a great opening scene though, and the brutality of Georgie, because like in the 1990 version you don't even see that. You see Pennywise's teeth come out. The kid's in the fucking road with his arm pissing with blood, you know what I mean? Hardcore, like.
It's quite a decent early kill, isn't it?
It is.
It sets the tone.
It sets the tone, and throughout the film there's some really good scenes of just suspense and tension where like all the kids are pursued in various ways by Pennywise, but like in different forms, because his kind of main form is the clown, but he tailors himself to people's certain fears, which is just a good fucking concept for a villain.
The way he like presents itself to everyone, like the first kid obviously, which is the guy whose stepdad just executes a sheep just to prove he shouldn't be a pussy-hole. The way he just sees like his family burning again through that door and the hands and screams. And then we move straight into like that weird picture on the wall which just has the weirdest fuck grin as it pulls towards him. Like,
in the synagogue, I think, with the Jewish kid, Stanley.
Yes, it is. But also like the way it moves through the library when we see him like stalking Ben. Like he starts just behind, disguised as the old lady, just kind of staring at him. And then it's just a balloon floating across the room. And then it's that headless boy from the book that he was reading who sort of chases him in this really like, I guess it's skeletal, right? But it's kind of like really clunky,
like twitchy.
Yeah, it's almost like a glitched walk. And then he sort of appears and just goes, "Hey boy," and just chases him as Pennywise. And he would have mauled him if it weren't for that old pesky librarian showing up.
Imagine if she just popped up to Pennywise and went, shh,
Yeah.
quiet. Oh, you can even talk about, like, Pennywise's other movements in this film. Like, there's so many parts where he does this shaking thing.
It's the way the camera, like, stays with him.
Yeah.
Throughout, they keep doing it, and it gets more and more intense as the film goes on.
It's because it's how fast he moves. Like, there's a bit where Billy sees, like, Georgie in the basement and it's, like, flooded. He, like, pops his head up out the water and does that shaky thing, but it's the way he screams and then, like, lightning is just next to him. It's really intimidating because you think, all right, Pennywise's kind of whole thing is sort of standing at a distance, throwing some insults out there and then slowly, like, luring kids towards it. But the way they depict him in this film is he can just pop up out of anywhere and he's on your back, and that makes him such more of a threat.
Yeah, I think, like, in this one, they've made him, like, quite predatory, haven't they? Like, using distractions. There's a bit towards the end where they're in the kind of weird old house. He almost, like, uses divide and conquer, doesn't he? He, like, splits them all up independently to then try and get his individual kills, which is very predatory, and, like, it kind of adds to that, like, depth of it being just this, like, monster, but it's intelligent. It knows exactly what it's doing, and it's the way it's kind of stalking its victims is super clever. So I think the way they portray Pennywise in this is fantastic. Keeps popping up, even if it's in the background, to try and get at people, like right at the start with the kid that shoots the sheep or whatever, or does later, but it doesn't shoot the sheep at the time. Like when he sees the burning family, like Pennywise is almost like behind a plastic sheet, isn't he, in the abattoir or whatever it is, and you just see his like silhouette, and then his eyes start glowing before they're interrupted by that boy with a mallet.
That's right, Henry Bowers, the local bully, not the Swedish battle rapper.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, he's a right evil bastard, Henry Bowers, in this. He starts to carve his name into Ben's belly. He's got this switchblade. His dad is like one of the main police officers. The way he kills his dad is so simplistic, but might be the most brutal kill in the film, probably.
It kind of shows you why he's a bully, because his dad bullies him. Like, his dad's just abusive towards him, isn't he? And, like, tries to make, like, belittle him in front of his friends and stuff and prove that he's just a scared little boy. He's not the worst dad in this film, though, is he?
Oh, my God. Beverly's dad.
Just a fucking nonce. It was quite deep when she effectively has to go and buy Tampax or whatever and cut her hair to keep her dad from abusing her.
Yeah.
Make herself unattractive to the dad. It was almost out of nowhere. Yeah, it was fucking horrific.
There's a great running theme in the film where all of the members of, like, the Losers Club, their parents are very pressurizing. So, obviously, you've got Beverly, her dad is very, like, rapey. There's no other way.
Wow.
There's no other word for it.
Oh, my God.
But Eddie's mum puts him on, like, placebos because she's a massive germaphobe.
No, she doesn't. She puts him on gazebos.
Ah, you correct me, sir. And then you've got Billy's dad, who kind of stops him from trying to investigate where Georgie is. Stanley's dad's like the rabbi who's like pressurizing him to learn his lines for the bar mitzvah. So yeah, like most of the kids, not all the kids, but most of them do have that kind of parental pressure. But yeah, Beverly's is just such like a savage left turn, and it makes this adaptation of it just feel more grown up than I think the original did.
This is just so far past what it was previously. I think they kind of excelled themselves here.
I prefer the storytelling method. This one's just all the kids to like kind of get you accustomed to their characters, and I think that all of them are like really memorable and perfectly cast as well, especially like Eddie and Richie, the two sort of funny ones of the group, just nail them roles.
You're right, they let them all develop their own character pretty well throughout. That quarry scene, I love that quarry scene where they're all like looking at her, and then when she looks up they do that classic like pretend you're looking completely elsewhere thing. It was like, I think with this film, the way they like weaved comedy throughout it, or just cut through moments with like just a second of funny and then back to like crazy murdering was really like well done. The other bit that really made me laugh was how Ben was like obsessed with New Kids on the Block.
Yeah.
And like when they catch him with his poster in his bedroom and the look he gives her when she notices, like, it was just brilliantly done.
The comedy elements really did just add some balance, I think. And this kind of came out in a period where by this point Stranger Things has revitalized everyone's nostalgia for the 80s. This is kind of like that peak period where we just want 80s shit. And then they captured it really well here. Like, you've got the New Kids on the Block thing. It's like a kind of coming of age movie as well as being a horror film. All the kind of stuff stuff down at the quarry. The rock war is really good. So it does just feel like a proper classic Stephen King film. It's got like Stand By Me vibes about it, especially when they're in like the barrens.
I think the most horrendous thing in this film for me was where right at the end they go down into the sewers to fight Pennywise. There's just this like huge pile of like kids' toys and all the kids are floating around it. And I think it was absolutely horrifying when it showed you just how bad the local councils are at cleaning out the sewers here. There's literally all sorts of shit in there. There's bikes, there's trolleys, there's nappy sacks, there's fucking dead kids floating around. It's terrible service, and we all pay tax for this stuff. And I think it's absolutely it is a horror film. It's horror, isn't it? Seeing how pathetic it is, the maintenance that does not happen in this town, in Derry. I was frankly offended and horrified.
If you want to make a difference in Derry, Maine, then vote for your local, what do they call them in America? Councillors? Do they call them
politicians?
That's the one. Vote for your local politician now.
Before you close out, Connor, I'll tell you who absolutely deserved to die in this film.
That's Northeastern for who?
The girl. She deserved to die.
What,
and I'll tell you why she deserved to die.
Why?
Because the way she blue-balled him at the end of this film,
she
deserved to get killed for that. You don't fucking blue ball someone like that. What a bitch.
Oh, she's meant to be like 15 or something. You can't shaft her on screen.
I mean, I didn't want him to shaft her on film, but I didn't want her to blue ball him like that.
That's also horrible.
True. At least, I mean, you're in the middle of a nice field. It's beautiful. You're by the river. At least let him Fuck it now.
How do we close this off? I'll tell you how we'll close this off. I'll do the classic one. Stu, your final thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's alright, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Right, so that's our review. No, I think it was a banging film.
Overall, it's a really solid film. Pennywise looks great. I think the way he, as I said, kind of hunts and stalks people and tries to intimidate them before he does anything. It's really well done. I look forward to reviewing the second part at some point in the near future.
Yes.
What did you think, young Connor?
Well, I thought much of the same.
Okay, thanks for listening, everyone. Really appreciate your time.
Every bastard time. Can we be professional, Stuart?
No, I mean, you know me well enough that I can't be professional, but I'll let you speak.
Okay. Really good cast. Pennywise was awesome. Some really good scary scenes. I like how it acted as both like the horror film with the Pennywise aspect and as a really good coming of age kind of like friendship assembling movie, and just was a great setup movie for the events of part 2, which we will review down the line. If you'd like us to do it as soon as possible, comment down below. And that's about it. Cheers.
Well, thanks.
Yes.